I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks that just...
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Good morning, Jim White, Brother Dave White, Super Dave Weldon, a very special guest, Tim Kelly, and Eric Zerbriggen. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Hi,
Good
everybody.
morning.
Good morning.
Tim Kelly is a lead risk specialist and a specialty risk control for captives through Great West Casualty. And Eric is our agent from Flood and Pete. Glad to have you on today, guys.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah,
you
thanks
guys.
for
Glad to have you
coming
here.
to the podcast.
Yep.
Thanks.
We always kick the podcast off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord Jesus Christ, thank you for this day and the work in front of us. Watch over our drivers, our fleet, and every family connected to us. Keep us mindful, patient, and steady in every decision we make on the road. If it's your will, keep us safe from accidents and harm, and bring us home to our families at the end of the day. Be with those who are sick, bring healing, strength, and peace, no matter what comes. Teach us to trust you in all things. We give you the glory, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
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 As a reminder, anything you hear on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFWs. It's not the opinion of Great West. It's not the opinion of Power Tech Elite or ARU or Flood and Peterson. It's just the 6 men in this room's expressed opinions. Don't sue Eric.
And we have great opinions.
Some unchecked facts and lots of great opinions.
Right. Google that.
Yes. Episode 240 had 279 downloads. We are at 121.1 thousand total downloads and have 1,026 followers.
Nice.
Good stats.
Great.
Love
Yeah. Climbing. Almost time for a pizza party. We always give new blood the first opportunity at our dad jokes. So, Tim, you are first.
Yeah, well, I hope you haven't heard this one, but what do you call a guy with no arms and no legs laying on the ground?
Stump.
Oh, I can't remember.
Matt.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's a good one. What do you got, Eric?
Okay, I have prepared one here. Dad joke. I told my 3 daughters I used to be a banker. Now I'm just an emotional investor. I put everything into them for 25 years, and the only dividend I get is a group text that says, K.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Soup, what do you got?
I got my three big ones here, as usual. What state is known for its small drinks?
Drinks?
Drinks. It's small drinks.
Ooh, can't figure it
I
out.
don't know.
You will. Minnesota.
Okay.
And what's 90 degrees and covered with snow and ice?
90 degrees, huh?
Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of a geography
Mm.
lean to this one.
Montana.
Trying to picture Alaska, but it's a blob. You know what I mean? It's not the 90. I don't know.
Guys are getting close, getting warm. So that would be the North and South Pole because they both lie at 90 latitude
right.
here. And what happened when the blue ship and the red ship collided at sea?
They made purple. Purple ship.
Very close. They were marooned.
Dude, got it. BD, what do you got?
Well, Tim, I got to capitalize on yours because at some point as a child, there was a whole slew of those jokes that went around. So I'm just going to run with it. Do you know what you call a guy with no arms and no legs on the wall, hanging on the wall?
I don't think I've heard that.
You know what you call a guy with no arms and no legs in the ocean?
Bob.
Those weren't my jokes, but
We'll go with it.
I love it.
We are ADA compliant in this building.
Yeah.
just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
What do you got, Jim?
Oh, well, I went, obviously everybody knows it's a new building and all this other stuff. So I just went in our bathroom in here. And of course, the urinal is blinking a yellow light or orange light. I've not seen that. So I don't know if the battery's dead or whatever, but all the stuff we've had problems with. So I Googled jokes about bathrooms. So what kind of trees grow in the bathroom?
Toiletries.
There you go.
There you
All
go.
right.
Good job, Jim.
No.
Why do toilets make good detectives?
They get rid of the evidence.
They always get to the bottom of things.
Hey.
I like
And-
the evidence. That was a good one, Jim. That could be a joke
And then why couldn't the toilet paper cross the road?
because it was single ply.
It got stuck in the crack in the
Oh.
pavement.
Oh.
Dang it. Pretty good. All right, guys. What did 50 Cent tell his grandma when she gave him a sweater for Christmas?
50 cent a sweater, huh?
Yeah.
That got me.
G, you knit? Oh.
Man.
All right, new employees. We got Chris Kindig started driving this week, and then Diego De Leon started in the shop this week. So welcome,
Nice.
welcome to JFW,
Welcome, you
guys.
guys.
In relation to Ricky?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but I
No.
was curious.
I did.
We also have a driver, Chris De Leon. We
Right.
got
Oh,
three
yeah.
De Leon. We've had one for 8 years, and now we got 3.
Yeah, I met Diego last night. Seems like a nice kid.
Sure,
Is he our new tire technician?
he is.
Yep.
Yep.
Mhm.
Anniversaries. Alex Torres hits 3 years this Friday the 14th.
Wow.
Here's a big one. Jim White, 44 years this Saturday the 15th.
Wow. Damn.
I didn't even know that was coming up.
Time flies when
Damn,
you're
you're old, Jim.
Right? Holy smokes.
Marco Gutierrez, 4 years this Saturday the 15th.
Oh, wow.
Got 40 years to go, buddy.
Yeah.
Birthdays. Sean Williams had a birthday on the 10th. If you didn't notice, he called out on that day.
I did notice that.
Pedro Sotelo, he had a birthday on the 11th, yesterday. Luis Leiva has a birthday this Friday. And then Alain Carballo, Esteban Vital, and John LeBlanc, they all have birthdays on the 15th.
Nice.
Yeah, happy birthday, everybody.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Family birthday celebrations. Georgi's wife, Mariam, she has a birthday or had a birthday on the 9th, Sunday, this past Sunday. Ricky Rodriguez's significant other, Trishan, she had a birthday also on the 9th. Brent Carter's son, Riker, he is a local celebrity here at JFW. He has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Riker.
Happy birthday, Riker.
Yeah.
Just
I
so you
bet-
gues know, he's been like stepping his game up on the track. He's going to be famous one day. So
That's awesome.
Yep.
And I bet he didn't call out.
no, no.
No, and I bet he listens to the podcast, too.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
Jose Carrillo's son, Angel, has a birthday on the 15th. And then Brant Conway's wife, Alicia, has a birthday on the 15th as well.
Yeah, happy birthday,
Happy
family
birthday.
members.
Birthday.
Shout outs. Jim, this first one is yours. You want to go for it?
It is? Man, put me right on the spot.
I know. I'm terrible.
No, I just, is this the start of the 3rd week? We've already been here 3 weeks.
I think so, Jim.
Yeah, I
Third
mean,
week. Yeah.
It goes by so fast. But anyway, we spent almost 50 years. Me and Dave been arguing over whether it was 48, 49, or 50, depending on when we moved in over at the Newport location. And Denver Truck and Trailer has been a neighbor of ours probably 20 years, 25, Dave.
Yeah, a long
I
time.
mean, anyway, Dan and Marshall are the owners and run Denver Truck and Trailer. And as neighbors go, we couldn't ask for better neighbors.
Those
And I
guys.
just absolutely, I mean, anybody that deals with them, they've been fantastic. I know Marshall listens to the podcast, and I know we'll still do business with you and all that kind of stuff, but as neighbors, you guys will be missed. And wanted to tell Dan and Marshall, thank you very much for everything you've done over the years. And it's just, you're going to be missed. That was my shout out.
Not only good neighbors, great people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
That's what makes them good
Yeah.
neighbors is they're
Yep,
great
good
people.
people. Yep.
Marshall is the only non-employee of JFW who's our Connect team. because he does the knowledge challenge after he listens to the
Sure is
podcast.
awesome.
I mean, that's awesome.
What does that say?
They're good guys. Yeah, good people, like Dave said.
Yep.
At some point, we must be some form of entertainment.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. But Marshall likes to hear what's going on, and yeah, he likes to be in the know, and he likes to test his brain. He's like, I like to listen and see what I've retained. It's like an exercise for him.
Sure, that's great.
So, yeah.
Well, he also might hear firsthand what crashes we have, and then what business they're getting.
Right.
Now we need to go to JFW and get that truck.
Yep. Looks like we're going to be seeing 0050 next week.
Right.
I got an email from Holly yesterday, Jim, and she just wanted to give a shout out to Tracy from Toby at Arapahoe Roofing. We had an emergency load of rock needed for a school that we were finishing, and Tracy was able to fit us in and get it taken care of for us. Toby said Tracy was a great communicator and was very appreciative of how he handled everything. Thanks so much.
Nice job, Tracy.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. That's awesome.
Man, imagine Holly called and she couldn't get that done.
Might have been a problem there.
I think she might have made another call, and that would be to you, sir.
After 44 years,
Yeah.
see if I could pull some strings.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Linda wants to give a congrats to Eric Allen. He had his first day solo after training the other day and got a clean level 1 inspection. $50, baby. Great job.
Yeah, awesome.
I don't want to take anything away from
Oh,
that,
I knew this was coming.
that
I
shout
knew
out,
it
but
Why, Jim?
because the equipment has been taken care of by somebody else. The shop,
yeah.
the previous driver.
The previous driver. Absolutely. But the driver had to look at his truck before he left, right? I mean, no matter what, Eric had to check the truck out and make sure it was in good shape, or hopefully he did that.
Yep.
And didn't find anything.
Pre-trip.
Exactly. But
Post-trip. Everybody brags about this pre-trip. Post-trip, way more important.
yeah, yep.
Way more important.
Yeah, especially since we have all the people here to fix it.
Yep.
When
I
you
heard
find
somebody announce on the radio this morning, pre-trip. No, post-trip.
Well, in this case, Dave, the other driver did a good post-trip, but Eric did a good pre-trip because he didn't drive it yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. But then the shop, I mean, it's good to know that even changing hands, whether the shop had it, another driver had it, he had it, the truck was in great shape.
Yeah.
Good.
And he had a valid license. So
Absolutely.
Win. But I will tell you, talking to Eric Allen, like getting to know him the little bit that I have, he seems like a guy that will get a level 1 anyway.
Sure.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
So, good guy.
Yep.
Shout out to Mondo and Stephanie for bringing us donuts, and a heartfelt thank you. Mondo mentioned bringing donuts for the podcast people today, and then he walked in with like 12 dozen donuts saying that Stephanie wanted to just thank everybody for all the help we've, given their family and his time off, at home with the baby and stuff like that. So
that's fantastic. Thank you guys very much for the donuts.
Thank you very much.
Scooby-Doo wants to give a shout out to Sam White. He's always a big help when he's here on his breaks. And he also wants to give a big shout out to Erica. She has been killing it here for the last month. So
they have been. It's good to see Sam when he's in town and all the stuff, and Erica jumping in and doing the moving.
Yeah.
I mean, it was big help.
Shout out to the 4th generation.
There you go.
Wow. I am getting old. Yeah.
BD, this next one's yours. You want to give it?
Yeah, I sure do. I wanted to do a shout out to Angel Baltiera and Jesse Cruz. They're running the super dumps, hauling asphalt, and these guys are stuck doing some strange hours. You know what I mean? When you see a Connect team photo come in at 8:30 on a weeknight because they just finished paving or something like that, or a late Saturday afternoon, you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know they were out there. And I guess that's almost where I'm more humbled, because I feel like I'm aware of what's going on. And then when I see those, I'm like, oh, clearly I'm not aware of what's going on, because I didn't know they were out there. So thank you to you guys for doing what you do and handling it clearly without any problems. You're kind of part of the support team that makes us go round.
They're out on the island by themselves.
Yes.
Doing the late nights. There's no mechanic staff. There's no dispatch.
Right?
There's no safety
Yeah.
team. There's nothing. They're out on the island by themselves and taking care of this stuff.
Absolutely.
You got to have a little bit of mental toughness knowing that everyone else at JFW is home.
Yep.
And you're out there paving.
Yep.
And it's appreciated. Those
So,
those two guys are hustlers,
Mhm.
right? Like they're out of the yard and getting it done.
Not for nothing, Angel was one of my referrals here, but and this next guy too, Darren Ortega. Good morning. I got another shout out for this week's podcast. These gentlemen are Zach Tharp and Marcus Lopez in 0085. They have guided me through the processes at CMEX, microbreweries, and overnight cores. Thank you guys for offering your knowledge to help me be a better asset. Their high level of communication and professionalism makes JFW a better company. So
I want to just stack on top of that because, Danny did the night tours for the first time last weekend, went off without a hitch.
Yep.
I kind of felt bad because he needed some help from the shop. And he was on Jim and I were doing a walk along, kind of a shop check with Mikey and Andre. And poor Danny needed some help and he was trying to get their information. So he was on the walk along with us for a little bit.
Oh,
until I
gotcha.
was like, I think you need some help. How can we help you? You know what I mean? And then Andre took care of it, whatever the case was. But yeah, we were kind of ignoring him because we were on another mission.
he was getting his steps in.
He was getting steps in. Yeah.
Yes.
He was also learning about the shop.
Yes.
That's funny. I want to give a shout out to Kendrick for his knowledge yesterday. Yesterday, I was helping a driver hook up their trailer, and I just willed it together, basically. Like, we were having trouble getting that handle to lock in, and it was pure will that made that thing lock in. And I was talking to Kendrick.
That and the BMFH, right?
I was talking to Kendrick about it, and he's like, that could be a problem. There's this little horseshoe piece in there that's inserted, and, if those are cracked, blase. He's like, you might want to bring them back. And sure enough, I don't know if you guys know that.
We never heard.
Yeah, the truck came back in. Ricky found a crack in the horseshoe insert and changed it out, and away they went. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I don't know if the trailer could come disconnected like that or not. I don't.
Not to the best of my
shouldn't
knowledge.
be able
Jan.
to.
Yeah, so
Because you willed it closed.
I willed it closed. Yes, it was pure.
With the BMFH.
Lock that pin in.
Yeah, but he kept saying he used the words love. He hit it with some love.
Yes. Yeah, it just needed a little love and encouragement, but we got it. So good job, Kendrick. Appreciate you. Any other shout outs from you guys?
I just want to finish up. We just mentioned that we've been in here for about 3 weeks and what the move was like and all the work Dave has put into it and Scooby and, Kendrick in there. But a quick shout out to you, Jam, JR, Super Dave, Joanne, and Dispatch. You guys all kept everything going on the normal stuff. We didn't have to come in here and ask you to do the hose reels or everything, but all the rest of the business needed to keep going, and you guys handled that. You took it off our shoulders. I know Dispatch tried to do a lot and took care of a lot of my stuff, not being asked. There was a lot of things that just, the duck on the top of the water looked really smooth, even though we were paddling like hell down below. So thanks, Jam, since you're sitting here, Super Dave, but, and everybody else, hope you listen to the podcast, and I appreciate everything you guys have done over the last, 3 months, really. That's kept us afloat.
Thanks for those words.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Because I felt guilty that I'm not out in the shop helping hang the hose reels or doing whatever, helping clean with Erica or whatnot. But somebody's got to hire drivers too.
we got to run the business somehow, right? Yeah, it's been crazy.
I just want to go back to Alex Torres. I know it was his 3-year anniversary on Friday the 14th here, but he is just killing it in the wash bay. And with this move, our eyes have been opened of how we used to do things and now how we need to do things. And it is a completely different level. And I think everybody's starting to catch on. This is week 3 of, we can't leave that. We need to clean this.
Right.
This needs to be done instead of, I don't need to pick that up or I don't need to worry about that.
Good enough.
It's starting to catch on. I made a simple request to Alex last night and I glanced this morning and he took care of it. And
nice.
I'm just very appreciative of those guys, taking care of that in the wash bay, guys and gals. And, everyone that sees our trucks are always like, they're always clean. They're always clean. And that's due to these guys taking care of that.
Yeah.
So thanks, Alex.
That's awesome.
We appreciate that for sure.
Nice. Anybody else? So this next thing is a shout out, but it's also a discussion topic, and that's for Tony Martinez. He gave me a call the other day. One of our old drivers got a ticket over at Denver West doing 70 miles an hour. Well, a lot of people would think that's a 5-mile-an-hour ticket. The thing is they extended the speed zone, right, for the restricted zone for trucks from before 470 down to Denver West. A little bit of a controversy because there's not split speed limit signs. They didn't put any of those up. They just moved the restricted zone sign down further. So that was a 70 and a 45 mile an hour zone and a $750 ticket.
Wow.
So do we know when?
I don't know when.
Because I had a conversation yesterday, kind of a text conversation back and forth with a colleague, and he's like, that happened after the truck crash where everything, they piled everybody up and
The
4
truck lit
people
on
were
fire.
killed and all the fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was before COVID.
I have a hard time believing that.
I think it was before COVID, Dave. I really do.
Yeah, that
Well,
wasn't the
Moving
part.
the sign.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean the
sign.
wreck,
Yeah.
the bad wreck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess my point is, we've all missed it. I mean, that's hundreds of people
for
here
5 years.
for seven
five.
plus years or 6
Yeah.
plus years for sure, right? When did it get moved? I mean, I wonder if I
Right.
should reach out to,
Dennis?
well, what's his name at the state? Our buddy
Junior,
from
JR?
Commerce City.
Oh.
There was Commerce City Council.
Oh, yeah.
I have him in my phone. I can't
Yeah.
think of his name,
Yeah,
but
right.
anyway, yeah.
Maybe it's been like that and it's just coming back up.
I guess
don't-
that's where
I think he's a David.
no.
No, not him.
No.
C-Dot.
I mean, he's CDOT, so I mean, I would certainly think he would know.
Yeah, I don't run.
It just seems like such a huge marker, and we're like, what? We didn't know. How did we not know?
Huh.
I guess that's where I'm puzzled.
I wonder if
when
JR
did this change?
I bet if somebody knows around here, JR would know because he's manages the geofences. You know what I mean? So
Well,
we
our
should- we
geofence
should-
used to stop right there.
we should call him. So
I can go get him. JR, you're
Well,
on the podcast today.
whether it's old news or big news, thank you, Martinez, for bringing it back up because we don't need a $750 ticket. I know that. So watch the speeds coming down the hill all the way to Denver West and beyond.
I mean,
I got
how
a
did-
question. Did you say that one of our drivers got that ticket or another driver out there that
And an old driver of ours. Yeah.
Gotcha. And we've verified the signs. Someone's verified the signs.
So I had a driver coming down from pit 21. I asked him to look where the sign's at. And I was like, it used to be here. And then he called me back. He's like, yep, sure enough, it's down by Denver West.
Wow.
So,
Well, hopefully everybody's list. That should definitely be a question.
okay. We'll make it a question. Next on the list, exiting the yard in the AM. Do we still really need to go north, east, and south to get out of here in the mornings? I know when we were having trucks come from the other yard to get fuel and doing all this stuff, we were having people leave going north, then going west, and then coming south by the scale. In the mornings, it seems like it's creating more of a bottleneck doing that than anything. If drivers just go out on the south side of the fuel pumps, but hug not drive on the yellow lines, but stay close to them and out of the way, it seems to work a little bit more efficiently.
I think it's fine as long as they're going slow.
Yeah.
Because we got people coming in and we got people going out.
Oh, the guys in the
So-
four-wheelers coming in, you guys need to slow down
And
because
Yeah, that's the problem I've seen is how fast the drivers are coming in.
Yeah.
And we just don't want an accident on that corner. It's a blind corner.
And I think the big thing was we thought a lot more trucks would be fueling in the morning,
right,
which I'm thankful they're not.
right.
You know what I mean? It's 100% set up for coming in,
Mhm.
not going out. It can
Right.
easily be done going out, but
Yep.
I mean, I'm proud of everyone, especially the way we've been stuck with 5 dispensers is all.
Right.
And we're here we are waiting on our state. We pay them a lot of money, but we're waiting on it.
Huh.
So they're not helping our business at all.
Huh.
Hey, Dave, I've been wanting to ask you too. How about that fuel cloud? Is there a holdup there, or is it just
Yes.
waiting for all 9 lanes to get?
Nope. There's a hold up there too, Dave.
Is there?
Yeah. Just the communications between it and the iPads, and I mean, we've put up a repeater. I don't know if you've noticed the 2 antennas that are out there, and it's still, yeah.
Huh.
I love technology because it works so well.
Yeah, until it
You know
doesn't.
what I mean? Yeah. Or it
Huh.
just doesn't. You know what I mean? You're sold a bill of goods that don't work.
Huh.
And I like what Mikey loves to say. I sure loved when there was a linkage between the throttle pedal and the engine. Because when it broke, I could fix it. Now you're like, well, is it a wire? Is it a sensor? What is it? Let me hook the computer up before you just looked.
Right.
So
Okay.
the pros and cons, right? Pros
Yep.
and cons, because it was flawless before at the other yard for the most part.
Sure.
Took us a while to get it dialed in, but that's where we're at here.
Right. It'll get working.
Yeah. I mean,
Always-
where we've
It
come
always does.
from 2.5 weeks ago to today is huge.
Sure.
So
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
imagine 30 more days. We'll
Look at that
Yep.
side of things.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to confirm, if you're leaving in the morning, you don't have to go north of the fuel aisle to get out. You could go on the south side, but don't stay close to the building. Kick it out a little bit towards the fuel pumps. This way, people that are coming in making that sharp right turn aren't going to turn right into you. So
Absolutely.
sweet. All right. Everybody probably already knows this because there was a lot of people on the radio that day and people came and asked me about it. We did need to let a driver go because of an incident down at Plant 13. Our driver got down there. Billy was down there, asked him to wait to dump. Our driver waited for a little bit and then said something to the effect of, hey, we don't get paid by the load. We don't get paid by the hour. We get paid by the load. Billy asked him to wait. He ended up dumping, called the driver up, signed him out. And on the way out, the driver said, later, F-head. And that plant manager, he wanted to cut all the JFW trucks off to that plant. And
He did.
He did, Jim. He did.
So we cut him off through some persuasion from Oswaldo and promising that we're going to take care of the driver. We were able to continue delivering there that day. So not a good look for that driver and not a good look for us. You could do a lot of things, but calling a customer a F-head, I mean, that's not acceptable. We're not going to tolerate that. You know, we're accountable for our words and our actions, right? And unfortunately, we let that guy go. You know, that's not how we treat our people. That's not how we treat each other. And that's not how we treat our customers.
Did you say,
Right.
unfortunately, we let that guy go?
Well,
Is that what you said?
probably.
No, I just, because I mean, this sounds brutal, but fortunately, we let that guy go.
Sure.
We don't want that. You know what I
Not
mean?
at all.
And that's the level. That's your level.
Right.
You know, I mean, no one asked me to. I called that customer. We've dealt with him for 25 years. I personally apologize.
Sure.
Like, dude, I believe you over practically any driver going down there because not one time ever has he pulled anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, his word is his word, and that's how it works. And we have a good relationship, and it's sad this happened.
Right.
It is sad, and if that's your level, I mean, honestly, you need to relook at how you do things if that's your level and how you treat a customer.
Absolutely. In the 8 years that I've been here, I've never seen us call a driver in the middle of the day and tell him to empty out their truck. So that's how serious that was.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, but I think that, and whether we talk about it and we're we need to discuss our standards. You know, I sent out video about Chick-fil-A and their standards and, how may I serve you and stuff like that. But I think we have to continue to work on our standards. But what I want to bring up is Jam told me a whole story of him driving the other day, got down to one of the plants, dumped, and he listened to our drivers on the radio, the CB, the way they talked, the way they were talking, and the way they sped in the plant, how fast they were going, all this stuff until they seen he was in the truck. And then all that stopped.
Yeah,
And
that's going to be part of my final thoughts.
perfect, Jam. I don't want to take it away from you, but
yeah.
to not have the same standards, whether you're being watched or not,
Right.
is a problem. And when we called the guy to come in to fire him, to let him go, he's like, I figured that would happen.
Right.
And man, how sad is that? You guys, how, that's the best you can do. And then he sat there and took all the business away from the rest of the drivers in JFW.
Not good.
Yep.
Well-
Certainly wasn't honest value for those we serve.
No, there's nothing. There was
Yeah.
no standard there. Absolutely not.
And I hate to say it too, I would like to think that individual could take a life lesson away from that happening in that situation, but I bet he doesn't.
No.
Mm-mm.
On to the next company that really needs drivers. That's what will happen.
Yep.
I know he's looking.
Yeah.
He hasn't landed anywhere yet, unless he landed somewhere today.
All right. Linda wanted to talk about course drivers. When you're done at the can, you must hit the stop button, not the pause button. Do you know anything about that?
It's a big difference. When you hit the pause button, as far as I know, Coors has to reset it.
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't come back on. It's paused.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, I was looking at that like, I wonder what's the difference.
Yeah, and the thing is, hopefully they weren't ever trained to hit the pause button. They were trained to hit the stop button. That's what we've always been trained on. That's what we've done for the last however many years we've had Coors. It's the stop button, not the pause button.
Right.
So again, what's our standard of training that's happening? Obviously, we're not training the people the right way because they're hitting the totally wrong button. So again, where's our standards?
You know, we may need to look, Jim, because years ago there was a laminated sheet up there, taped up there, and I bet it's gone. Bet maybe it's not there because we could easily do that again. But it could be there too, because it depends who you talk to about the grain being piled up. Because Todd was sure pretty clear about
He was very
the
clear.
stairway to heaven is there, the rake is still there. He said it takes me 1 minute, I move it over, I knock the grain down, I tarp, and off I go.
And my tarp's just fine. I don't burn up the motor. I don't tear the tarp.
Right.
Yeah, Todd
Right.
was awesome last Saturday.
Yep.
Good stuff. Wanted to talk about dumping next to each other. This is another thing. Somebody came to me the other day. Guy pulled into, I believe, the West Plant, got lined up, was going to dump, jumped out to hand his ticket to the loader. With that, another driver came in, backed right up, and our driver was like, hey, we can't dump like this. And the guy's like, well, you were out of your truck. And he's like, I got here first. You know what I mean? Like, and I like the other driver did move up. Like, let's just be a little patient, right? We can't dump next to each other. It's very dangerous. We could communicate though. Once that driver's trailer's in the air and the material's out, then he's coming down. If you were already lined up and was like, hey bud, just so you know, I'm gonna start backing up.
Yeah.
I see you're empty. There's nothing wrong with that.
Back in, get started.
Yep.
As one's coming down, one can start to go up, pull out.
Or if a guy's, getting back in the bin and hasn't started dumping yet, and you're like, hey, I'm going to swing by, and get lined up. So when you're done, we could do things like that, but we can't be in bins next to each other. That's not very safe at all. So
yeah,
loading.
Instead of, in case we would happen to tip over, whether we're unlevel, mechanical failure or what, we only lose one vehicle, not two vehicles.
And hopefully no lives.
And that was what I was going to finish with.
Yeah. Better to lose one life than two lives.
Yeah, exactly.
No, just kidding.
It's not a 2 for 1, right?
No lives lost.
No BOGO.
Super Dave, do you want to talk about that YouTube channel you came across?
Yeah, I'd love to. I just thought it was really cool. I mean, it's kind of like our podcast in a way, only it's a step farther because the guy's on video and he's doing a ton of these. I just happened to click on the actual title is That DOT Cop. And he's a real DOT cop in Vermont, which is really far away from Colorado, but DOT is DOT. The rules are nationwide. And I just clicked on the video that says, the reason DOT picked your truck for an inspection. And everybody always says, well, yeah, they always pick me, right? And he said, well, there's visual indicators. We are looking at that truck before it even comes up to the checkpoint. And those things include lights, tires, mud flaps, your air lines and electrical lines, 7-way on the catwalk, the driver behavior in that initial meeting, the carrier safety performance, which I didn't know, but they can check that company's CSA before the truck even gets to the checkpoint. They just pull it right up.
Yep.
And so all these things play into that officer picking you. And how do you fix these indicators? Guess what? You do a good pre-trip and post-trip the night before. You check that truck. When I was driving every day, I wanted everything to be perfect so I could slide through those checks and say, have a nice day. And he would say the same thing. Well, you have a great day. And in the end, people aren't doing that, right? The interesting thing was this guy was presenting the discussion in a human way. He wasn't being this hard-ass DOT officer. He was speaking like he was talking over coffee. And I just love that because that's how people can learn and how people can identify with the things that they need to be doing. And the kicker is, too, if you're a professional driver, that truck is your responsibility. Just like, anything else you do, you're taking care of your kids or you're taking care of your house or you're washing your car or whatever. that truck and you're out there driving that truck, it's your responsibility to make sure that everything's in order so it's safe and it's compliant, and you can tell that officer to have a nice day, and he says so too. But it was very informative. I totally recommend everybody to tune in and to check it out. It's called That DOT Cop. Apparently, I don't know, and I think he's been doing it for quite a while, but he's got 1 million titles. Some of them other titles are called Watch This Before Your Next Roadside Inspection, or Truckers Could Face New Roadside Tests. The 14-hour rule may finally change. All of these are current events that are very informative. And as drivers, we need to be up to date. We need to be informed. So try to search that YouTube channel out and have a look at this guy. It's very, very good.
Nice. Like it.
Yeah, I've seen him before, David. He's very well spoken.
He is
very clear on the rules.
Yep. And he partakes it in a very good way, doesn't he, though? He's not trying to be condescending, like I'm the cop and you're the trucker. You better listen to me. It's not like that at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Super D gave me the link to that show. I'll put it in the show notes for anybody that's interested. You could click on that link and check it out.
Yeah. It does come right up. That DOT Cop I'm in on YouTube. It just booms right up.
We had a guest on the show called That DOT Guy. Remember him?
Yeah.
I just find it, it's kind of ironic, Dave, because, you bring up the first thing he does is visually, right? He's looking for lights out. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'm thinking of myself in the morning when the trucks are leaving the yard and how many times we're on the radio asking questions about, do you know your lights out? And then how he's also looking at how that driver is driving past. And you're like, driver, you need to slow down. Slow down.
He said that, Dave, speed, how they're entering the checkpoint. And that's a big thing.
I guess everything you
truck is
mentioned
speeding.
right there is what Jim and I do every single morning. We all do. We all post up and I guess who's the safety guy for Flood and Pete? No, I'm sorry. He comes and audits us.
Larry Miller.
Yes, Larry Miller. I love his quote. That you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right? We've all, I would guess every human being has heard that quote.
Yep.
And then he says, but if you hold its head under long enough, eventually it takes some in. And, Jim's about to celebrate 44 years. And I guess my question is, how long have we been doing what this DOT cop is doing?
Good point.
You got a guess, Jim? 44 years, right?
We had it before as kids, Dave.
This is where my passion comes out and my anger, because I'm pissed off about it. Why are we having to police that still? Why are your standards so much lower than ours that on our pre-trip or post-trip, we ask you to take a picture of your lights on, not a picture of your lights out and leave, a picture of your lights all on, and you have a picture of lights that are out, and you still choose to leave. Did we train you to do that? No. Did we ask you to do that? Hell no, but we do that. So that's where, trucking is like many, many other problems. It's a people problem. And when your people don't have the standards you have or your business has, sooner or later, it's kind of like that guy that went down to Plant 13 and didn't do what he was supposed to do. He's not going to be a part of our business anymore. And unfortunately, those are the standards. You either do it right or find another place to do it. And I hate to be blunt. I hate to be sarcastic. I hate to be anything about that. But all this guy's doing is absolutely everything we talk about every single day. And at some point, after decades of doing it, you get pissed off. You get sarcastic. It gets old, and that's just, I don't know. I'll step off my soapbox because now I'm just starting to go on and on. It's frustrating. Tim, do you have anything to add to that? Do you have?
I agree with you.
Do you generally view of all the businesses you see across the nation, when you have a company that's having problems? Is it not just a people problem? And I'm not saying it doesn't start at the top with a lot of companies, right? Because they just accept that. Yeah. We don't accept it. We ask not to accept it. We try not to accept it. We stop it when we see it. Yeah. but it still goes on, man. So sorry, I asked you a question and then just kept talking.
I agree. It's human nature. Change is really difficult for people in general. And so when you have to change some habit that you've gotten into over the years, it's extremely difficult to do. People don't do that generally unless they have a really compelling reason to change. And so that's the struggle. That's the human nature, the people struggle that you talk about. People really just get into a rhythm that they don't want to get out of. And it's hard to navigate that. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. We have biases. Like a driver might say, well, it's not going to matter today. No one's going to notice. Or I don't need to do a pre-trip because when I left the truck last time, it was fine. And so these things, we convince ourselves that we're correct when we're not. And it just can spiral out of control to the point where you're really making poor decisions. And we've got to check ourselves and challenge ourselves to make better decisions. It's every time this happens, it's a choice that a person makes to not do something. And so we need to correct those choices and do a better job going forward. So
Love it. Well, that was a good segue to the Tim Kelly portion of the podcast. No, that's awesome.
I'm kind of passionate about that too.
That's great. Glad to have you and Eric on today. We're going to talk about some insurance and safety stuff. Can you explain to the audience exactly who you are and what you do and why you're here?
Yeah. So I support your company from a risk control standpoint. You guys last year, JFW joined a captive, and that captive is a partnership between your company and 114 other companies. You share risk with 114 other companies. So a big role that I play in that is I do an assessment on a third of those companies. And that assessment is reported back, and we measure how each other's doing. And so there's a scale. Some companies are exceeding expectations, and some companies are meeting expectations, and some companies are needing improvement. That's the scales we use. And so once a year, I'll come out to your business, JFW, and do an assessment, a report that puts you on that scale. And anybody who needs improvement, there'll be some sort of intervention. Your business partners, the people you share risk with, want to improve those carriers or
Absolutely,
or get rid of those carriers. And so that's the process. That's one process.
So just to explain a little bit more, when he says we share risk with 114 other companies, we're in this captive, meaning we're in a group of trucking companies. We had a meeting yesterday. The PowerTech Elite safety meeting was right here in Denver yesterday. And we were in a room with 114, probably some of the best trucking companies in the nation, because you have to be a safe company. When I say the best, I mean the safest. You have to be a safe company to belong to this captive. If you're not safe, you can't get in. It's a pretty exclusive membership, so to speak, right? So Tim's here. When we're done with the podcast, he's evaluated our company, and a lot of what he says and goes back to the captive with determines whether or not we get to stay, right? So,
well, I mean, yes and no. Like you said, most companies are great, and that's what we find 99% of the time. And so really no changes need to happen. Just keep doing what you're doing. But occasionally there is a poor performer that really needs improvement because they put the rest of their shared risk partners at risk.
Right.
The other 113.
right.
At risk. And so they got to correct those things.
So just imagine this. Imagine you and 9 other drivers decided to have this pool of money together, and it depended on all of you to be safe, right? And there is 8 of you that are doing a really good job, and you're watching this money grow, like your safety bonus, right? And then 2 of these guys are unsafe, and now none of you get your safety bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at it like that.
That's right.
That would be like your own little mini captive.
Yep.
So maybe that's what we should do. That might be a good idea.
Yeah, I want to
We're
bring
onto
up
something here.
the word and harp on it, and because I've been to the meetings and stuff, is there's a certain amount of standards
Right.
again that all of us in the captive have to meet. And just like anything in life, Dave just mentioned that you'll no longer be a driver with us, or if you're not following the rules, it's the same thing that happens in the captive. You'll be asked to leave.
Yeah.
I know that's extraordinary. You'll try to work with them. Tim will come out, try to identify the things that need to be fixed and fix it. But still, the bottom line is you'll be asked to leave because you don't meet the standards. And the standards are this above average because we're all above average companies. And that's that we need to maintain that. I'm passionate or excited about that. I think that, and when we went to Scotland, that was one of the meetings we did, and I kind of talked about that. But we sat there and we listened to you, Tim. We listened to the rest of the presenters. How many companies that you guys do review and get turned down? And obviously, my wife was there with me, Holly, and she works here and stuff. But when we got back to our room, she mentioned, and I think I said it on the podcast, that all of you, Dave and me, from what she took away, she said, you guys don't understand how special you are, what the criteria you meet to be invited. And I don't sometimes, but that's because we feel like we don't meet the standard. And it's
because we run into it
all the time.
So many times, Jim, when we have someone not meeting our standard.
Yep.
And it's so easy to let your standards slip, to your point, Tim, and I don't know what causes that. We had a situation where we had a problem with one of our customers that we run 24/7. Everyone will know who that is. And we were spilling grain on their property. We were just leaving. We weren't a good client. We weren't a good support vendor to their business, right? And we're like, how do we stop this? How do we stop this? How do we stop this? And finally we came up with, you know what? When they're sitting there, we need a picture. We need a photo of the trailer tarped.
Yeah.
And the tailgate latched. And one of our largest claims is due to this.
Yeah. I
right.
saw that, yeah.
And after that is when we came up with the idea, right? Unfortunately, when bad things happen, you realize, oh my God, that happened. And how do we keep it from happening again? So we come up with this plan, right? Supposed to have photos of all of that. Well, pretty soon that became our standard. Man, we were like, oh, look at that photo. Look at that photo. We're perfect. We're perfect. We're perfect. Well, pretty soon one driver stopped sending photos. Then pretty soon 3 drivers stopped sending photos. And then pretty soon we stopped asking, hey, did you send the photo? So once one person stopped and their standard slipped, half of the standard slipped, and then our standard slipped.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you keep that from happening? Right? It is a natural occurring thing, but who drives that? Right? I guess that's where, we show back up and go, where's the photo for that? Who's the, you've heard of a gatekeeper. Who's the standard keeper at your company?
Yeah.
That's almost a position we should create. Who's the standard keeper? And here's this department. There's the standards. Here's this department. There's the standards. Here's this department. There's the standards. And, I'm just making that up, but damn, it kind of sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. People's, you maybe used the value-driven driving stuff that Great West puts out. And one of the key principles in that is values versus priorities. Priorities change. And so if something's, we need priorities in our life, but not always that thing is the top priority. The priorities change. So for example, wintertime driving, you put treated fuel in your truck, and that's a priority. But in the summertime, that's no longer a priority. And so that falls off the priority list. So priorities change. But what doesn't change is your values, and so your example, it was a priority because we had this crash, and now let's do it, but it never converted to a value. And so it's sort of a new priority came up. But if you converted that to a value across the board, then our values don't change. They are what they are, and they will always be that unless you have enough of a compelling reason to change it. And so that's the key principle. Now, how do you change something into a value? That's a really hard question to answer.
Right.
But
this was your quote from the meeting yesterday, Tim. Safety is not a department, it's an organizational value. And then you define value, a standard that does not change based on your circumstances. How do we shift the focus from compliance and checklist to culture? So I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what, I'm just ragging on Chick-fil-A, but the standard is, my pleasure. It was my pleasure to serve you. They say that all the time, and you just said it, Tim, but that's their value. If you don't say that, you're not valued at that company. It's just all there is to it. And the guy we've seen in the video or whatever was everybody, when you get hired, you might think, well, that's corny. But when everybody's doing that, you do it too.
That's right.
And that's the value. So.
I mean, it's the old Jocko Willink or Leif quote that I used to quote. When it comes to standards, it's not what you preach, it's what you accept. Because we could preach it and preach it and preach it, but then something goes awry, and then all of a sudden we're accepting something different.
Yeah.
But if we really started, holding the line of our standards, things would look a lot different around here.
Absolutely.
There might be some empty trucks. So,
Jim, to put in perspective your previous comment, I think we turned down 2,500 companies last year. We added maybe 20, 30 to the captive, but turned down 2,500. And so that's the exclusive club that PowerTech Elite is.
How many captives do you think are nationwide here?
Oh, there's 4 or 5 primary competitors to ours.
Yeah, there are.
But there are more.
Yeah, so there's probably 4 to 5, quote unquote, what they call wheels captives. But the peace of mind that a key vendor to PowerTech Elite being Great West Casualty on the reinsurance, safety, and claims administration is pretty priceless, in my opinion. The care, concern, and expertise that they show really gives me peace of mind with you as JFW and our other great clients in this captive. As I monitor emails on just basic things like claims and the level of communication and collaboration, the difference between the captive and the old insurance world, I think.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
To me, is what you were looking for. I mean, I see such collaboration down to like $1,000. And you're just like, I think that's what JFW wanted from the get-go.
Yeah. On that part, I mean, because we're talking about the claim with the grain that we had is, you guys came to us with this figure, and we actually went above that figure and said, nobody's going to be happy with that number, but we appreciated where you started, and we got to take care of this. It was an accident, fix it somehow, and fix it by make it fair. That's our value. That's your guys' value. That's what it boils down to.
I want to jump in and rewind on the values, Jim, since you brought it up, but we were talking about your Chick-fil-A thing. You know what I mean? It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. It's my pleasure, whatever the case may be. Could you imagine the driver we let go if when he was asked to wait a minute so I could push up this pile, he said, oh yeah, no problem. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Dave, I've been thinking about that ever since I found out. I was like,
could you imagine?
Easy enough to just say, yeah, you bet, Billy, my pleasure,
and be done.
Yeah, that would be it.
And probably Billy would have let him go sooner, or Billy would have went faster.
Absolutely.
He would have tried to take care of that driver twice as fast if he got that response.
That's right. If you have a bad attitude, you're going to receive a bad attitude.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It's like a mirror.
Yeah.
Matched energy for sure.
Yeah.
Matched energy for sure.
Tim, what are some of the top reasons, and Eric, feel free to jump in. What's some of the top reasons for crashes right now?
I like to say there's 3 hazards in trucking that are and will always be, and those are dimensions, demands, and distractions. Dimensions, you think about a 65-mile-an-hour truck driving down the road at 80,000 pounds or whatever. If you plug that math into Google and ask how much energy is this creating, you'll get a figure called 13 million joules. Now, I don't know what joules are, but
It's a measurement of energy.
I Googled that.
My family jewels are pretty valuable. I know that's a different
joules, Dave.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a joule anyway, right?
I know 13 million.
Yeah, energy, power joules, completely different. Yeah.
13 million is a lot.
Yeah.
So I Googled what is equivalent to 13 million joules, and I got a freight train driving down the track at 30 miles per hour would be equivalent.
Mm-hmm.
And a automobile driving 270 miles per hour.
Wow.
Is equivalent. And so a freight train driving down the tracks, there's no exposure, very little exposure there. There's some cross tracks that would be exposure, but the guards come down most of the time. And so they eliminate a lot of that risk. A vehicle driving 270 miles per hour, that never happens. But what happens all day, every day is a truck, a semi truck driving down the road at 65 miles per hour.
Wow.
And so there's dimensions is a
Wow.
big issue in trucking
Ha.
and physics of the truck. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Demands. I mean, people are constantly after the truck driver to get this there, to get that there, to get back here. Let's get this many loads delivered. Demands are crazy. You know, the shipper and the receiver both need you right now. And so demands are really hard in trucking. And so we have to guard against that. That's a big hazard. And then last one is distractions. There's more distractions now in the cab of a truck than have ever existed. And so,
the phone is
phones,
just the absolute worst thing.
so many things going on outside the cab too.
Yeah.
In a town like Denver, a city like Denver. I mean, I saw a statistic. I can't quote it perfectly, but I'll try to draw a mental picture. The number of miles driven, if you put it on a graph, that line looks like a hockey stick going straight up. The number of miles of roads looks more like a flat plane going across the bottom. And it just is the difference in how many miles there are of roads in the United States versus how many cars are driving is astronomical. And when you drove 20 years ago and got your CDL, it was a different world than it is today. And so that is all just
for Jim
or 40 years.
It was really different 40 years ago too.
Right. Well, you think about if you took your CDL test drive 40 years ago, how much easier, not maybe easier is the wrong way to say it. But
No, you're spot on. I like the word easy. Yep.
yeah. Well, there's just not as much going on.
It was it was easy. No, you're right.
So anyway, distractions I think are crazy. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Are there any specific, instances, like, is there a trend of lane changes or losing control of the vehicle? Like those are some things that were mentioned yesterday. So.
Yeah. In our captive, we had 37 crashes so far this year in 2026. 37 crashes have exceeded, this is an old number, it's about a month old, exceeded $100,000.
Wow.
And the largest percentage of those were loss of control. That's a driver going off the road, upsetting the truck, jackknife, which is surprising to me because that's what hurts a driver. So why would that happen the most frequently? But I think maybe distractions and fatigue have something to do with that.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, I have something to add, just
Great.
plainly with our book of business in trucking and even commercial auto, and this goes to the distraction. In 2026, for some reason, the rear end collision has reared its ugly head.
Really?
And can only think that's a function of distraction.
Yeah.
Because
Totally.
it's always your fault when you rear end somebody.
Yeah.
So that's
Brother Dave just got rear-ended.
Yeah, like
Oh, man.
30 days ago. And I mean, I'm just sitting there at the red light and it's just a habit. I look in my mirrors, you know what I mean? As I'm slowing down and here comes this white GMC and I'm like, oh, he's not going to stop. So I was prepared and he plowed me sitting right there at the stop, had to hit me 20, 25 miles an hour. Last second, like the nose dove down, but it was too late to swerve and get out, and I was behind a vehicle. So there were just vehicles around me. I couldn't go anywhere. So I just prepared for it. And the minute I got out, all the guy was concerned about was his pickup. He never asked me if I was okay. He did not give a shit. So I was like, geez, that phone is pretty distracting, isn't it? That was what I led with. Cause I'm like, you don't care about me. This is how we're starting.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what he said, you guys. He pulled out his little pinky finger and he goes, I was looking in the mirror and he goes, I was getting some food out from my teeth. That's what he said. And that's how he said it. And I'm like, wow. And then when the cop got there, he told the cop I stopped too fast. And I'm like,
but you had been stopped
sitting there at a red light.
an eternity.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you say? And what was really upsetting is we waited. Like I purposely waited. We called the police like 3 times because I wasn't leaving until this guy got a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was proof, right? And we waited and he even threatened he was leaving. And I'm like, go ahead and leave. I have all your info. I'll just let the cops know you left. And he wound up waiting. The cops got there and the Commerce City PD said they were too busy to write him a ticket. They were too busy to write him a ticket. And I was like, are you kidding me? I said,
but if the roles were reversed.
Yeah. What proof do I have that my insurance isn't going to have to cover this myself? and he's like, well, I will put in the report, he's at fault. And I'm like, then write him a ticket. It take the time to write a ticket is that, so there's a lot of things that are going on, when I say behind the scenes, just with city, county government, PD, all of those entities that aren't helping us also, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but that's a subject for another podcast.
Oh, no doubt. Who's most likely to have a crash?
We have a lot of we get to look at a lot of data, and a driver is most likely to have a crash in the first 6 months of his employment with a company.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with his age or experience.
Wow.
It's how new they are to the
Industry.
to the new situation they're in. So as a new driver to a company, you're getting used to the culture of the place, the equipment, the routes, the way you guys mentioned the way you leave the property, right or left, north or south. They're getting used to all of this stuff, and that can be overwhelming. And so we typically see, now that it's not always the case, some companies do a great job of managing that exposure and prepare that new driver for that issue, and then it doesn't become an issue. But across the board, if you looked at all of the data, you'd be surprised how many drivers have a crash within that first 6 months.
And when you say a crash, what level of a crash are we talking about? How serious of a crash, or just a crash?
Just a crash, yeah.
Okay, so it could be a backing accident where nobody gets hurt, or it could be a double fatality on the highway.
Yeah, all of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Does that jive with you guys as far as in the last?
I have to say absolutely yes. For years, when I'm training a new driver, I always say it's like a rubber band. As you're driving every day, you're stretching that rubber band. And then all of a sudden you have a backing accident and the pressure's off, and they don't have another mishap for years, perhaps. But I'd have to jump in and say yes, first 6 months.
Do you know, Tim, what kind of training that the other companies are doing to mitigate that early, that first 6 months? Because we feel like we do a lot of training to try to mitigate that.
Yeah.
And obviously, like Dave said, it happens. The comment we hear, though, that we don't have any statistics on, is I've never had a crash before. And well, how come we're the lucky company that you have a crash with? So
never reported a crash, maybe.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I think some of it's just awareness. So as you got a new employee that you're getting ready to go out on the road, just making them aware that this first 6 months is going to be the biggest challenge for you. And if they have that perspective leaving the yard for the first time, they'll hopefully do you a solid and work on that and make sure that it doesn't happen to them. And so I think awareness training is probably the number one thing. Let's show them the data, especially if you had your own data. You could say, look, of our last 10 crashes, 5 of them or 6 of them happened with guys in their first whatever.
Yeah,
if that's true, I don't know. It may not be true here, but
just them knowing that statistic may ring a bell for some of them. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh wow, like this, they're expecting me to have a problem in my first 6 months. I'm not going to do that.
I'm glad they're prepared.
Yeah. I truly believe.
And I told you guys it was going to happen.
Yeah, right. I truly believe no driver leaves here thinking they're going to have a crash.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
100%.
No.
And so the idea that it won't happen to me, I think, is a problem in trucking. We can't have a perspective like that because it happens to people just like you every single day. And so rather than that, I don't know if you would call that overconfidence or what, have a realistic perspective of, I got to do a perfect job today and have that idea in your head every single day when you wake up.
We had a guy always taught us, nobody wakes up and wants to suck today.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? And no one does. But unfortunately, some days we do.
Yeah, we do sometimes.
You know what I mean? And we've all had it, maybe we're blessed a little more because we're not
lucky.
behind the wheel today. Today I sucked, but I'm sitting at my desk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But maybe I'm sitting at my desk and I turned in $1 million bid that I was distracted by and it's too low.
Yeah.
And we got the job. Well, guess what?
Now we got
a problem, right? So it's in every field, even though I'm kind of dumbing it down, but it's in everything we do, right?
Yeah.
It's in everything we touch. I think the biggest way to fight the crashes that you're talking about in the first 6 months is eliminate turnover.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean,
you
the
can keep
best way
them-
to combat that is eliminate turnover.
Yeah.
Boy, if we could learn the key to that magic sauce, we would
Yeah.
share that recipe with everyone we knew. But it is real, and we were blessed. What, 2 years ago for 3 to 5 years, and man, just in the last year and a half or 2 years, it is weird. It is real.
Yeah.
You know,
One of the
the
most
turnover.
common questions I'm asked is, how's your turnover here?
It's great. We have a lot of
And-
it.
Well, industry wise, we're
We're
very
low. We're low.
extremely
yes.
low. But I look at them and say, you know what? It's the worst I've ever seen the last 2 years. And it's just the nature of society today. It's a very fickle human environment, I guess, and I don't know if there's anything that you can do about it. It's not just trucking.
Yeah.
It's just about any area of employment.
Yet, Tim, for my age, I'll say it's an age thing. But when you say it's not going to happen to me, I call that the what if. And I don't think people concentrate on the what if as much as what they should.
Yeah.
But I also feel that some of that what if is you learn that with age, right? Because you're like, oh, I've seen that happen, or I've had that happen. But then on the other hand, alternative is I know younger drivers sometimes are scared and they're concentrating, they're aware, they're the whole bit. And then we get the guy with 10 years experience that's just, it comes natural. And then that's when they have an accent, but that's complacent at that point, and they're not, it won't happen to me. They're not thinking about what if. It's just complacency that it reared its ugly head and it happened, and you'd think with retention, I still think we'll have that accident when we have complacency. Retention will help. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Dave. It's I don't want to argue with you, but
Oh yeah.
then we got to slip in the complacency. How do
That's
we
right.
stop that?
That's right.
And the complacency, where does it fall under? Is that our standard or is that a value? Because where does that fall in? Because we use complacency all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a backing accident yesterday that should never, ever, ever happen. Because if you can't see, you don't back up. Does that fall in our standards or our values? Right? To me, it's both. If you can't see, you don't back up.
Yeah.
This morning,
And then
my
Dave,
son,
you go back, and I read your email on that. You go back to the stickers that we have on the mirrors that say, get out and look.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, how many more standards do we have to put out there for you to ignore that clearly it's not your value, but it's just ours? Because it shouldn't happen.
That's right.
It just shouldn't happen. We shouldn't back into a non-moving concrete wall that's been in place for 30 years. Shouldn't happen. Right?
Yeah.
And just this morning, I guess I'll brag on us. We moved one of our vendors' trailers that's been parked in the parking lot out here. It was time to get it out of here. So we towed it out back this morning at 5 a.m. and Jim got to a spot where obviously he couldn't see to back up. And I was like, oh, let me hop out and spot you. Novel idea. But that's our standards or our values. If we back into something, I don't want to be around and tell anybody. You know what I mean? So we have to be perfect.
That's right.
Well, therefore we expect you to be, why are you backing into something?
Yeah.
Right? Why do you back into something?
Yeah.
You didn't get out and look. So those are the things.
I read a book. It really impacted my life to a great deal. It's called Sway, The Irresistible Pull of Irrational Behavior. It's a long title, but it's kind of a funny
I'm
title.
sure it comes up just under Sway, right?
Yeah, just under Sway, yeah. But it really challenged me on my biases. So one of the areas is a confirmation bias. So take your example of get out and look. A driver maybe starts off with the first 10 times, gets out and look, and nothing's ever back there. So in their head, they've confirmed, well, I must be seeing everything as I pull in. And so a confirmation bias tells them that nothing bad has happened when I got out and looked. So I must not need to do that anymore. And so they stop doing that because they've confirmed to themselves that it's not necessary because I never see anything.
Huh.
And so then they stop doing it. And it's called a bias, and we all have biases. I was able through that book to identify some of my own personal things that I was blind spots that I was struggling with.
Interesting.
And then and then able to address those things. And so I think as a professional driver, we ought to be challenging ourselves in those deep personal things, asking people or figuring out what your biases are and figuring out how to address those. If confirmation bias exists for all of us. And, another example is if I have 2 seconds of following distance for an entire year, 120,000 miles, and never have a close call, my brain says to me, well, 2 seconds must be enough because I've confirmed it. Well, it's not the physics of a truck. You can't stop in that amount of time.
Right.
And so, but you believe all of a sudden, maybe even not consciously, but subconsciously, that I've got enough following distance. I must be better
I've
than
driven
the
like that my whole life.
Right.
Yeah. We've heard that so many times.
Yeah.
How many seconds do our cameras narc on us?
1.5.
0.5.
So and that's for 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be within 1.5 for 30 seconds. And we still have drivers argue with us that I'm not too close. Look. And we're like, yeah, you are. Look.
Right.
So that's our bias versus their bias.
Right.
And I just want to add to, those backing accidents. At some point, there's some comprehension that should jump in, because all of I would say 95% of the loads we dump are in the same locations. Is that a fair number?
I would
Maybe
say
5%
so.
are a new location.
Yep.
Right. I mean, we've been hauling to the same plants for years, right? Since Jim started driving. That's how long.
44 years ago.
Right. So anyway, and even before, even beyond. So anyway, when we back into a wall and we hit a concrete wall, I always think to myself, okay, trailer's 8 feet wide. Ben is 12 feet. If I have 3.5 feet showing on one side, I must be pretty close on the other, right? Right? Is there, and I could throw a lot of words out there that'd probably be demeaning, and I'm not after that.
Right.
But I'm after the circumstance. Look at the circumstance you're in, and I'm 3 to 4 feet away from the wall on this one. I bet I'm pretty close on that one, but I can't see it. I guess I'll go until I feel it, maybe. I don't know. Those are the things that,
right.
And that's where, seriously, there's a lot of things right down here, being mad, being sarcastic, being whatever, everything I just did, which may not be the right way to reach someone, but God bless Jim, because he doesn't get like that after 44 years, and I sure do. I'm like, how did we hit a wall that's been in place for 30 years, and we knew we were 4 feet away from it over here, but we still hit it over here?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And you were backing and couldn't see it.
Yeah.
You were backing and couldn't see something. What if by some crazy chance that plant operator was having a problem with that bin and he was back there and didn't block off the gate, or, whatever the case may be. So I don't know, lots of crazy things, not crazy things. I kind of want to say the common sense, what I feel are common sense things.
Mm-hmm.
We as we set up the shop here, we tried to set things up, and we've become a paint line Nazi on where our paint lines are at our facility. We have them guiding you into the fuel island. We have them guiding you into the shop bays and the wash bay. And in our bays, they're 14-foot wide doors. 14 feet wide. The truck's 8. Right? We're giving you a lot of berth to fit through, a lot of grace. You have a lot of room to fit through. But we took the yellow lines and we scooted them both in 2 feet off each side. Would you guys have any idea why we did that?
Smaller margins? I don't know.
Guide you to be center through there and be equal on both sides. Yeah. So we did the same thing at the fuel island, but instead of being narrow, we made them a little longer. And our theory was, if you don't drive over this yellow line, there's absolutely no way on God's green earth you're going to hit our fuel dispenser. Yeah. But now we have cones sitting at the end of all of the yellow lines.
Oh, no.
And we've created a few kind of funny sayings. If you think they're funny, they're not politically correct whatsoever, but it kind of calls you out when you drive on the line.
Yeah.
But those are things to set us up for success.
Yeah.
So we're trying to help you be successful, when a lot of people have looked at it like, they just don't want us driving on their lines. They're too cheap to pay for painting the lines again every year. Well, yeah, that's another piece of it. Painting lines are expensive, right? It wasn't cheap to have that done, but we did it for you to be successful.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned the what if on the backing.
yes,
What if someone was back there? Well, in my 15 years, one of the worst losses and accidents I had ever seen was there was someone back there.
ugh,
We had an insured, they were at a loading dock, and the guy was, flagging him in, helping, and the driver did not see him jump off the dock and get down there for a split second and backed into him, pinned him against the dock. I mean, talking about crushing his sternum.
Cut him in two.
And one of the worst things I've ever seen, and it was all because he didn't get out and look,
Yeah.
right? There
Yeah.
was someone back there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great. A compliment for you, Tim, and also Eric, just having new people on, give you new ideas and stuff. But what a great piece on the bias that your mind begins to lie to you. Because like you just said, you identified them in your own personal life. I can think of like 10 of them off the top of my head. I'm just lying to myself right now, but when Dave gives the example of like us backing the trailer up this morning, I can't have a bias because I just don't want one of our employees or somebody to know that I hit something.
Yeah.
I can't lie to myself on that one. But all the other stuff, man, there's so much where you have that bias of, like Dave said, I've driven like that my whole life. Yeah. And you've just lucked out.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're just, at this point, it's just plain lucky.
Yeah.
And that's what we try to tell people too about being sued, is they're going to sue us. You guys are there to defend us and everything else, but at some point, it's going to come down to the driver. They're going to list the driver in the lawsuit also.
Yeah.
But if you've never had that happen, you have a bias.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
It won't happen to me.
Yeah, it won't happen to me.
Yeah. I've just been listening, and this has been something on my mind when I've trained people in the past. I have to throw it out there. A quick pointer for anybody that's in a maneuvering situation. When you're maneuvering your truck, whether you're getting close to a wall or a concrete block or backing into a bin, and you get that gut feeling, wow, I'm pretty close. And then that bias comes in, Tim, you say, I think I'm going to be fine. When the minute you get that gut feeling, you are not fine, and you got to stop and either pull up or get out or reset.
Yeah.
The minute you get that gut feeling, stop.
Yeah.
Because you're already too close.
But Dave, prior to that, you're backing without seeing. You've already made the choice. You are backing without seeing.
About backing, I'm talking about pulling forward, or you're maneuvering.
Sure. I'm rolling it to backing, but I mean, you should be straight, and we should be backing straight. You should have visibility of that trailer in both mirrors.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
In a backing situation.
You always get that gut feeling like, yeah, I think I got it. I'm pretty close, but I'll make it. Even if you're pulling through an alley or driving around something, a pylon or something. And at that point, you get that feeling, you better stop and recheck because you're too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like EZs, but again, I would take that at age. I've been to so many job sites where somebody's directing you and easy, but I've been in so many situations where the guy just disappears.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, where did he go? I stop. And I'm like, until I see you, I'm not moving. Because the guy's like, come on, back up. I'm like, well, stand where I can see you because I'm not moving.
Yep.
But that, again, I don't know whether that's an age thing. It's just like, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? Where are you at? So,
Dave, that like pulling forward your gut feeling, we tell everyone, I'm making the movement. I'm putting my arms out as far as I can. If you're this close to within something, you're too close, right? If you're this close at one of our plants, if you're this close to a wall, you're too close, stop. And years ago, we used to have the extended hood trucks, and we bent the bumpers on the corners because we'd drive over gravel piles. But, it was a lot of work. You had to stop. You had to push in the clutch. You had to maneuver the lever forward to go from forward to reverse, let the clutch back out, then back to, you know what I mean? And I'm exaggerating everything, right? Because today you just step on the brake and you roll your two fingers, you go from forward to reverse. But we still do it. And it's even simpler, right? It's even simpler to stop, back up, be sure you clear that block and go. I mean, I bet the amount of concrete blocks we've hit in the last 5 years, double digits.
Totally.
Easily double digit. That block's not on wheels.
Yeah.
That block didn't go anywhere. That block wasn't a cart that you were hitting golf balls at that's picking up golf balls on the driving range, right? Wasn't moving left to right. No. No, we hit an object that's been sitting there, weighs
For
3,500 pounds forever, but we hit it, right? Because we got within this close. So, yeah. Tim, you're learning what frustrates me today.
Yeah.
Couple more questions for you, Tim.
Yeah.
The captive is made up of some very good safety-focused companies that clearly take safety seriously. When you look at other member companies and review their safety programs, what are some of the things that they're doing that really impress you and you would recommend to us to do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think safety's no secret. I think it's pretty obvious what makes a company safe. It's the hard part is doing those things that are obvious. But one really important factor is an engaged executive management team who's engaged in the performance of the safety program. That's a key factor. If a company's trying to be safe but doesn't have the support of executive management, owners, executives, whatever, it won't fly because there will always be reasons to not do it. And so everybody being on the same page from the top to the bottom is super important. And that's culture, and hard to measure culture. It's possible you can measure culture, but it's challenging. But that's one key element.
When you say there's always reasons to not do it, like what are some of the things that you hear?
Well, so if you find yourself in a trend of bad crashes or a frequency issue, you're having a lot of crashes, but the executive management is saying, but we got to get these loads delivered, and just the cost of doing business is having these types of crashes, then the driver's going to go away going, well, it's probably okay to hit a few things.
Gotcha.
And so
that just blows my mind. Right. I mean, I know you're just saying that, but
so you have to be aligned in that.
Sure.
And that's the key. That is the number one key.
Okay. I like that.
Mm-hmm. There's other, hiring the right driver is very important. Your drivers are the ones who have crashes. And so if you hire the right group of guys, you're going to have a lot more success. If you relax your standards and say, well, I'm not real sure about this, man. And I'm telling you, I've done this before. I've hired several bad drivers, one in particular that I'll never forget, where I thought, it's probably okay. He'll probably be fine. You guys can all think of the ones that you did too.
Absolutely.
And it turns out it wasn't fine. It wasn't okay. He was a bad hire. And so I needed to do a better job of eliminating that need for a driver and balance it with, I got to hire the right driver.
Right.
I'd rather park the truck and not have that crash than get a few loads delivered. So, and then embracing technology. There's never been I've been in the trucking industry since 1999, plus my parents, my mom and dad were in the trucking industry. There's never been a risk management tool better than cameras in the truck.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
In all that time. I think in the past there may have been some, but when you talk about effective braking distance and stuff like that, those are also really important. But never before have we known exactly what happened in a crash.
100%.
And now we do. And so embracing that technology is super critical.
I like it.
Super critical. Yeah.
Yep. Without Nate, did you guys want to follow up with him on that?
I mean, I'm going to kind of narc on ourselves or something that I ran into that going back to your, the three things, dimensions, demands, and distractions.
Yeah.
Right. One of the things I've recently heard, because we switched to what's our dispatch software, McLeod. When did we switch? Has it been a year on McLeod?
October last year.
So
coming up on it.
So one of the things I heard on demands, and I had never heard this before, because for all these years, Tim, when we dispatch, we have so many trucks that you're on this plant today.
Yeah.
You're hauling sand. We never said get as many loads as you can. That's just what you're hauling.
Yeah.
You haul your loads there, and we've never pushed you need to get X amount of loads.
Yeah.
Well, with the new dispatch system, we don't have that ability. We don't say you're hauling sand to plant 12 today. We say, and we have to pencil it out, you're on there for 5 loads or 6 loads or 9 loads or 2 loads or whatever. And I've heard 2 drivers now say that the dispatch gave me 5 loads. I can't do 5 loads there. What do they want me to do? And you could tell they really felt that pressure.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening to me. And I was like, we just have to pick a number of loads. If we only put 3 and you're done at 1, we've had drivers in the past that don't call until 3:30, even though they're not being paid because they're not all in loads. So dispatch is going to put probably what they think you can do on there. And I guess that's something, maybe we need to take a look at. Maybe there's some thing on McLeod that we can just put an AD on it. You're on that all day. However many loads you deem safe to get there, because that we're not looking at it like that.
Yeah.
We are counting on X loads, because if we have 200 loads that need to go there for the day, you need to do 5 and you need to do 5 and you need to do 5. But I mean, we've never put more on, I feel, than someone is capable of doing. I feel we do a really good job on that, but that's something, when I look at that as demands, it's something that's come up. It's a bit of an ear ringer for me. Like, wow, maybe there's something we need to address there.
It's just funny because the opposite, you kind of hit that the opposite works too, where it's like, I got all my loads done.
Yeah, right.
Bring it
home. Good night.
Right. Yeah. It's free. I'm off early today.
No, that was just to get you rolling, man. Like, it's time to go to work.
I was thinking that when Tim mentioned earlier about being pushed, is how many times at the end of the day, the conversation between dispatch and the drivers is, hey, can you make it up here and get preloaded?
Yeah.
Can you get this last load? Drivers like, well, it shows, sometimes it's the opposite. It shows I can make it. I'll go ahead. Dispatch, okay, can you go do this? They'll say, no, I can't make it. It shows I can't make it. GPS it or Google it or however it works. But there's that push at the end of the day. And I'm thinking, maybe we just, shouldn't do that, shouldn't have that conversation. But then somehow we have to battle complacency. Because there is that where, you can make it. There is time, there's no traffic or it looks good or all that. There's such give and take to everything.
Yeah.
Bottom line, safety. That's what you still have to have, but you have to battle through all the things to get there.
Yin and yang.
Yep.
It's a dynamic business.
Yes.
It's ever changing.
Yes.
And just because you could do it an hour ago doesn't mean it's possible now.
No.
And it's crazy. Trucking is wild. Yeah.
Yeah, Tim, one of the things we kind of, and it's just between the safety team and stuff, because, we all have questions and maybe we're questioning each other. Maybe they're questioning me and Dave as owners. But, when you say it's dynamic, is nothing is black and white.
Yeah.
Man, it would be nice if something was black and white. Yeah. And we're operating the gray. There's just all there is to it. And some people, they struggle with the gray area because it's like, I want an answer. What do I need to go do? Just tell me, I'll go do it. Well, like, no, you can't just go do it. Doesn't work that way. Yeah.
So yesterday I was speaking to a lady at the captive meeting, and she came from a trucking company that was pretty black and white. And she's now in the end-done business. She works for Steven.
Okay.
And she's like, when I got there, I was in shock. She's like, I was just in shock. Like the 14-hour rule, the local exception, like it was like, I was going to have a heart attack about everything. I'm like, I was like, yeah, we operate in the gray. She's like, everything is the gray in the end-done business. So I think that's kind of unique to us. It's not like an ELD where you got your 11 hours of driving and, there's just a lot of things where it's like, can we do that? Well, it's in the gray area where we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where our standards get confused with our values, because we do have so many things that are black and white. You have a light out. Let's fix it before you leave.
Yeah.
You have a bald tire. You can't go out like that. Let's fix it before you leave. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We do have those that are staunch black and white. So maybe that's where the gray blends for people. Jim. Maybe that's
okay.
Maybe. I don't know. I hadn't, until both you guys were keying on everything's gray. And I'm like, well, but these things aren't. So where does that? Where is
maybe that's your bias where you say it's okay. That's what you're asking, Dave.
I get it.
I can run this, but that light's okay because it's just one.
Right. Yeah.
Or
it's been okay. I haven't been stopped for the last year and a half.
That's right. That's right.
Well,
right?
You can run 80,000 on the interstate. Well, I'm 81. Do you want me to trim?
You've been all right.
Yeah.
In
a gray area.
I get it, Jam. That is a big gray area because we run into that all the time. You ask for 26 tons and the guy gives you 26.9.
Good enough.
And you're just running from Henderson to,
Central.
right? Which is at 74th and I-76. And
One exit.
what do? You're 81,200.
I know what I do.
Oh, I
Me
didn't know
too.
I-76 was the interstate.
That's funny. Just going to move it along a little bit, guys. Just because we have another meeting after this with Tim.
Kind of chatty, aren't we?
Sorry. Kind of a nerd in that way.
Tim, without naming a company or anyone involved, can you share an example of a captive member with something that initially seemed small and insignificant that turned into something much bigger?
Yeah.
And please, Eric, you could chime in here as well.
We have across the captive, because it's a different insurance way of doing insurance, you have a lot more at stake. And so you have a lot more say in how claims get handled. There then comes an issue of non-reported or late reported claims. So maybe it didn't seem like that a big deal at the time. And so we didn't report it. And then all of a sudden a claim goes sideways, like big time sideways. And you're a week later going, the adjusters a week later trying to put together the facts of the crash because we're just completely behind the 8 ball. And when you're doing that, when you're having to,
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And that's whether we're at fault or not. Yeah.
correct.
I
Yeah.
want to know if we were sitting there in traffic for 20 minutes rear-ended.
Yeah, I've been a big opponent of reporting everything because of time.
Yeah.
Right. So, and this changed for me yesterday, sitting through that meeting, hearing some of these things, listening to the lawyer.
Yeah.
But I was big on, if it's not our fault, nobody's hurt, we got video, the other person got a ticket. Like, I'm not calling Great West about this. That's a waste of my time because they're going to ask me all these questions. I'm going to send emails and then they're not going to do anything. I'm going to have to call the other insurance company and go get our money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then after listening to the lawyer yesterday, like, I'm convinced, or broken, or I give up. Like,
They held your head underwater long enough.
He started,
took some in.
he started drinking. Yeah.
one of the things that really made
Been
sense.
converted?
Yeah, one of the things that really made sense to me, and it crosses over into the firearms thing. So, Tim, I don't know if you know, I teach defensive handgun classes,
Yeah.
and part of the thing is, to have some kind of insurance and get that, lawyer-client confidentiality. You don't talk to anybody. And that rang true yesterday because the same thing happened. They want us to report everything because they may get a lawyer involved pretty quick, and then everything becomes, client privilege, where we don't have to give them this and we don't have to do certain things.
Gotcha.
So that was really an eye-opener.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, the accident we had with the grain, that was at whatever, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I got home. It was Saturday night. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday. I got up Sunday morning and got a hold of Jam. I'm like, do you have the information on where I'm reporting this and stuff? Because I was at home. Jam filled me in, and maybe it was 8 or 9 when I spoke to the person on the phone. She goes, oh, thank you very much for reporting this. Nothing, good for you. Nothing else has been reported. And I'm like, good for me. I mean, it's been 5 hours. And I like basically just got home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that exactly that reporting it, how important. And I've mentioned it to you from the other meetings.
Yes.
And what they're after trying to do is, either confidentiality between the client or just jumping on top of it. If it's, your fault or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The smallest thing can become a $200,000 claim, like in a moment, if you get the wrong people involved. So.
Yeah, we talked a little bit yesterday. That's happened to us. The one we just settled, and it's just like,
Disgusting.
So unfair it feels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Before we jump ahead, and I know we're running behind, Tim, what is a no hire for you?
Like a driver that
when a driver walks in, do you have something just glaring?
pass crashes.
What?
Past
crashes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
If you can identify if this driver's been involved in crashes prior, you just need to pass.
I guess I have to clarify on that a little bit. How long ago or how many? Is there a?
That's a good question.
I mean, I hope there's not. I wouldn't
Right.
want one. I wouldn't want somebody with
Right.
3 crashes. So I guess that's kind of a dumb question, right?
Well, you would want to know the circumstances, right? Like if I got rear-ended at a stoplight, is that really a crash that I could have avoided? Probably not. That's probably an okay hire. So you want to kind of dig into the details of the
Sure.
crash. And if you found that driver left a few things out because he didn't want to tell you about them, it's probably
Not
just
your guy.
not your guy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because of past crashes. Yeah.
I left this question out, but I'm going to roll back to it. Who is a high risk driver, Tim?
Well,
Say that again, Jay.
Who is a high risk driver
Yeah.
according to the meeting
Yeah.
yesterday?
yeah. When DOT investigates a crash, they absorb a ton of data from each of those crashes. And there's hundreds of thousands of crashes across DOT crashes across the board. And so the data shows that a past crash is a great predictor of a future crash.
So somebody who's
Yeah.
had a crash is 113% more
More
likely
likely.
to have another crash,
Yeah.
which is the opposite of what we were talking about, Super Dave, where, a guy gets there within his first 6 months, has a crash, checks out box off, and now he's good. The data's showing that that person's actually more likely to be
Wow.
involved in another crash.
Unless they've changed their behavior. Sometimes crashes can be that
Okay.
change, right?
Okay.
And so,
We've had that.
yeah.
I mean, not a
Jesse,
lot of.
Jesse Baeza.
That's the one. I'm like, how many have we had?
I would say Ed would be one when he rear-ended that caddy on Chambers, and I almost hated running with the guy because he wouldn't go over 60 miles an
Yeah,
hour
right.
after that.
But he,
So that
but
would
he
be-
never
Never had another
But
one.
how many crashes did he have before that?
I don't know.
I think he had 2.
Ah,
Yeah. He was one that I was just thinking of. He had a crash. We did get involved in a lawsuit, Tim, over the crash. And early in his career, he had a rollover crash, single rollover crash, just himself. Nobody was hurt. But during the trial, they brought that up that you hired this guy with a rollover crash. And, is that your criteria? And they asked, did we know about the crash? 1, we knew about the crash. 2, it was over 10 years ago is when
Yeah.
it was. And his MVR when we hired him was clean. He had no tickets. That's the reason we hired him. And the lawyer worked around that. But to dig up that crash from 10 years ago and so
Yep.
that's the guys you hire,
Yep. You put
Yeah,
a
well,
dangerous
at the
driver on the
time-
road.
right?
At the time, we didn't have access to that. You know what I mean?
No.
When we ran
That was a long time ago.
driver license, you got what, 3 years,
Yeah.
4 years? What
And
was it?
I
now,
think
it's,
that driver.
now it's forever.
No, I mean, it depends. The insurance companies, they want these tickets to be over 3 years old. But his motor vehicle was clean, and a lot of times a crash doesn't come up on a guy's motor vehicle record because he wasn't cited for anything.
yeah. And I
and-
think that
and-
was with Ed with a rollover, but he told you
I-
about it or had told us about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember how it came up, Jim, because we knew Ed. He worked here for like 16 years or something.
Retired from our company.
Yeah.
If you remember the old Great West underwriting guidelines, which still exist for the captive, maybe it's a little more stringent but I doubt it.
It's the same. Yeah.
What I was always taught up in Boise when at the symposiums is if you don't meet all of these, minimum requirements, it was actually 700% more likely to get in a quote unquote serious crash.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So
So
over 23,
it's not
2 years
like-
experience, clean
it's
motor
not like
vehicle.
the
record.
insurance or Great West was going, I'm going to make it as hard as friggin' possible for these guys to hire a driver.
Huh.
No, it's like over 50 years. How long has Great West been in business?
Yeah.
50 plus years.
Yeah.
All of
This-
this data shows
All of
this.
this data shows that unless they meet these
Yeah.
minimum,
Huh.
there's something bad going to
Hard to argue with numbers.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they were just finding out. What Larry Miller spoke to us about it, Dave. But what's the classes when you have a drug? What's the
SAP
yeah,
program.
SAP, Larry said that the data was starting to show because it's fairly recent tracking that in the clearinghouse is if you've been in the SAP, and I don't remember what it was, that you relapse. You have another
85%.
Yeah,
yeah,
we,
that-
was
yeah,
it was it 85%? And that's when
Their recommendation was
pass.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've seen
Yeah.
that firsthand here.
Yep.
Somebody
we have seen that.
make it
Yeah.
almost to their last drug test on SAP and then, blow.
knowing a drug test was coming. It's like,
We had a
What?
guy that went 2 years and he failed his last.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, second to last
Yeah.
random.
Old habits die hard.
Yeah.
apparently, yeah. Addictions, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I mean. Right?
Yeah, it's not.
Not just a habit, right?
Yeah.
Tim, what's the number one thing we should take seriously?
I think, yeah, good question. I think I would love to see trucking companies and the captive across the board convince their drivers that avoidance is the number one risk management tool. If I can avoid a crash at all costs, I should do it. So often drivers try to teach people a lesson out on the road, or if a guy pulls in front of me, I'm not giving some space. I'm not, it's his fault. He needs to yield to me or that vehicle.
Disengage.
Right. And you've got to we across the board should do a better job of avoiding crashes. Like the only way you can control the outcomes is to avoid it altogether. And so once you're in a crash, you're at the mercy of the trucking, the everything that's going against trucking at the moment.
Right.
Even if it's not your fault, if there's states that have put liability on trucking company just because they were there.
Right.
And so in order to avoid all that, I mean, you just have to avoid the crash altogether.
Yeah.
May I add to that, Jim?
Of course.
I think the number one thing JFW should take seriously, and any business, is stay defensible. So keep doing what you guys do. Document, training, all the things you do, so that when that does happen, no one can say, "Well, they didn't care."
Be defendable.
Stay defendable.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. That's good.
I like that. And to me, the tools of avoidance is speed, space, following distance, speeding, do those things that we preach all day long.
Yeah.
Those are things to help you avoid accidents. So.
Yeah.
I think you can still take it back too, though, Jam, is what are your standards? Because that makes you defendable. Here's my standards. Here's what I've done across the board. That one plaintiff's attorney at the one symposium, was what are you putting on your website? And he gave us examples. He said, really, you should just have, you won this award, you helped these kids out. That should be all that's on your website. What
donated to this school.
What you did good,
company.
and the one you kind of mentioned it earlier, Tim, and the one that sticks in my head was you said the guy played the video, was that one plaintiff's attorney showed that truck driver being in a crash, and then he posted on his personal page, how would you like to have this 80,000-pound rocket up your ass?
God.
And now, and you're like, okay, you're posting that, but then you just rear-ended somebody.
Yeah.
What was the word you used, Jim? Because it's premeditated.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about running this truck up your butt,
Right.
and not good.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not defendable.
Yeah. Very, very much not.
And it's not avoidance either, Jim, at that point.
You guys got anything else before I move on to tips and tricks? I see you writing down a lot, BD.
I'm
taking
gathering
notes?
more freaking notes here than I mean, what I just wrote down was Tim's avoidance, but I correlate that to Jim's what if.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
When I'm in those situations, I'm not thinking avoidance, even though I am, but I'm calling it what if.
Yeah.
When this guy comes over in front of me, instead of me riding his ass and backing off because of avoidance, I'm sitting there going, what if he hits the brakes?
Yeah.
Or, I'm too close. So I'm doing that.
Same. Yeah.
I'm just calling it something different.
Right.
You know what I mean? So to me, I just correlated the two words, and that's.
There's speaking of correlations, there's just so much in what we do and in the 2A community, because I preach avoidance all the time, right? The best gunfight you'll ever be in is one you never have. Yesterday, they said the best claim that you'll ever have is no claim, right?
Yeah.
They used to say a closed claim, and now they say no claim. Like
right.
it's just all the same.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much liability involved with both things.
Yeah.
And there's just so many lawsuits involved with both things. Whether you're the good guy or not, they're coming after you. You're either the big trucking company with a lot of money, or you're the guy with the gun that, people just want to go after because you're an easy target. So,
I mean, it's true in every state, but I mean, I just picked up Sam at the airport last Sunday when he flew in, Saturday, whatever day he flew in, and leaving the airport, they have those giant screens now with all those colored posts as you get there, just off of Pena Boulevard, or on Pena, just off of 470. And the first screen as we're leaving is, Frank Azar, have you been in a truck accident?
yes.
And I'm like, welcome to Colorado, Sam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here, your own family's business
I mean, it should.
is under attack. And I shouldn't say under attack. it's just easy money because guess what? If we're not doing things right, we're liable.
Yeah.
If we leave with a light not working, we're liable.
That's right.
Those signs, instead of saying, have you been in a truck accident, it should say, you should have a truck accident.
Yeah. Yeah. Slam on your brakes in front of a
And it's
truck.
that way in every state.
Yeah,
I mean, the
it
few
is.
states I've traveled, there's billboard in every single one.
Yeah.
The one in Indiana is a mixer truck. I laugh
Ah,
at that. It's not, have you been hit by a big truck? It's like, have you been hit by a mixer truck?
yeah, those things
Like,
are
well, apparently
dangerous.
Ready Mixed is doing well in Indiana. You know what I mean?
Making a plaintiff's lawyer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw this law firm, I think it was Arizona, might have been New Mexico, and I was telling one of our drivers, might have been Ghost, about it, and because he's from New Mexico, but that firm is nationwide, coast to coast, and that's how big they are. And it was the same thing. Have you been in a truck wreck? And I'm like,
Sure.
oh my God, it's a witch hunt.
I can tell you another one. There's a local prominent attorney that was I was in North Carolina, and there was a billboard that says, were you in a truck crash in Colorado?
Oh, wow.
What?
In North Carolina.
Wow.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Isn't that bizarre?
It's bizarre.
Wow. All right, guys.
It's made him rich.
Let's do some tips and tricks with Armando the Sergeant Del Val.
The Donut Man.
The donut man. Thanks for them donuts.
Yes. Thank you. And
Number
Stephanie.
Number 62, rock bottom. Good morning, JFW family, and welcome back to another week in Tips and Tricks. Please remember that the purpose of these tips and tricks are just ways for us to be helpful, better, and safer drivers on the road. Let's be JFW professionals. This week's tips and tricks, I'm going to go over using the rock or red trailer, however you want to call it. Know that the rock trailers are not to be treated like the aluminum trailers. Yes, we can still haul almost the same materials, but it's going to be different when it comes to operating it. Drivers, remember that whenever you're connected to a rock trailer or a red trailer from an aluminum trailer, everything's going to be different. So for those that don't know, whenever you are connected to a red trailer from your aluminum, you'll always have to get a fresh tear weight before getting loaded. Why? Because they're made out of steel instead of aluminum. These rock trailers are heavy and they add about 6,000 pounds to your tear weight. If you don't get a new tear weight after switching, know that that customer is going to be paying for 3 more tons than they requested. So here's an example. The aluminum trailer tear weight's about 27,000 pounds, while the rock trailers are about 33,000 pounds. And that's combined weight with the tractor and the trailer. You're going to plant 12 and you ask for 26 tons like everyone should. With the aluminum, that's going to put you at 79,000 pounds. Now with the rock trailers, if you ask for 23 tons with no tear weight, when you get your ticket, you'll still be at 79,000 pounds gross weight, but your ticket's going to read 26 tons because your empty weight is still 27,000 pounds instead of 33,000. Always get a tear weight when switching trailers. Also, if you're using an aluminum trailer with a rock trailer tear weight, you're going to be losing 3 tons worth of money. Know that these rock trailers have dual tires and no lift axles. Also know that there's no gauge reading for your trailer. So when you're headed to Sterling or anywhere with the port of entry, you'll have to get your axle weight when you pull up onto the scale. If you need a refresher on how to get your axle weights, you can go on Connect and go to the knowledge base and tap on the gross weight axle weights and watch the video JR put out for us. First, I'm going to apologize if I miss anything or get something wrong. It's been a while since I hauled rubble, so let's see if I got this. When operating a rock trailer loaded with rubble, never close your tarp after loading. Doing this will completely damage your tarp and cables. That's true. When you're done getting loaded with rubble, let's do a quick walk around in the truck. Make sure that no boulder fell off your truck and look to see if there's any damages on your tarp. Also check to see if there are possible boulders hanging on the edge of your trailer. If so, get with the loader and ask him to push the boulder inside your trailer. When operating your tailgate, you're going to pull the trailer release valve. The gate will open. Know that when you let go, the gate will close. There's going to be a black rubber switch on top of the release valve. When you pull the valve, hold it and push down the black rubber switch. Pushing the switch down will keep your trailer gate open. Now it's safe to let go of the valve and check to see if your gate stays open. Basically, there's a detent in that plunger. When you pull that valve, there's a detent in it. When you push that black button down, it's going to go into that detent and hold that valve open. Now you're ready to dunk. When you dump rubble, always release your tractor and trailer. Never set one of them at all. If you do, you can and will damage your trailer axle. Those boulders will come down hard and get underneath your trailer, damaging everything it touches. Have your tractor and trailer release and your foot on the brake. When the boulders start coming out, get off the brakes and have your truck slowly go forward freely. If you need to step on the gas pedal, please go very slow. Pull the valve to close the gate. After it closes, the door gears will automatically close and lock your gate. You want to visually see the door gears close. I remember operating a rock trail, and every time I close it, the door gears would not lock back in place. You can get with me or ask any one of the Rebel drivers to see if they can teach you how to operate a rock trailer. Please let me know on Connect Team what you think about this week's tips and tricks. Thank you all again for listening and the positive feedback. Let's start doing things the JFW way. Until next week, Armando the Sergeant Del Val, 0073. Together we can be better. A couple things I want to add. If you're hauling a rock tub, punch in under the rock tub category because you will get 1.4% more to make up for the difference in weight.
But gotta let us know.
Gotta let us know.
Gotta let us know.
Yep. So, anything to add to that about dumping, Super Dave?
No, I think his dumping explanation was good, but I do have something to point out. And this was a long time ago. Jim, you remember, it was a snowy day. Scooby and I were hauling rubble out of Plant 12 in Aurora, and we didn't tarp our loads. They were large chunks of concrete because the law is anything over 1 inch does not need to be tarped. And we got tickets for not being tarped. The officers said there was dust blowing off the top of our trailers. So that's kind of
gray
area, right? Whether you tarp rubble or not. I mean, does it damage the tarp? It can cut the tarp because the chunks of concrete are sharp. But the officer can also write you a ticket if he feels that you're blowing something off the top of that trailer.
So what's the happy medium? What's the
Don't tarp.
Eric, I think the solution would be to check your load and see if there is dust and fines because, they might scoop up a little bit deeper into the ground and get some dirt or some dust in there. And if there is, you better tarp.
I gotcha.
Yeah, the rule would be to tarp, Eric, if at all possible. But sometimes you just can't, like Dave just said, you just have to go look at the load.
Yeah.
And that's where I think Armando's trying to get at. The rock trailers, what do we have, 15 of them, you guys, compared to the other 10,
yeah.
but the other 90 end dumps. And sometimes you end up pulling a rock trailer. We don't train on those, and if you get switched one, I think the best thing is, for anybody that gets switched one, ask for some training. Get with one of the safety guys, get with one of the rock trailer drivers that pull a rock trailer and go over the tips. Get with Armando if you have to. Again, knowledge is power, and you have to have some kind of knowledge about that trailer that you're pulling.
And here's, just another caveat to it, Eric, is when we haul the rubble here locally, those trailers are longer than the trailers we used to own, and they're deeper. We used to have a true half round. It was, half this circle of this coffee cup, right? That's how they were designed. Now they're more elliptical. They have a more of a side on them, so they're a much deeper trailer. So really, we shouldn't have any material showing, or just enough that the tarp will clear it until you go out of state and we need to clear a port and we're hauling boulders out of Wyoming. In order to axle out, we need not the majority, but more load in the front on the drive tires. So now you have a pretty good chance that a boulder is sticking up and we can't get the tarp past it. So there's all these, when you talk about training, I mean, look at just the 3 things I've just went over, and you got to figure that out every load or what you're doing.
There's be on your A game every day.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to be invested in what we do, for sure.
Soup, want to hit us with that high road hauling?
I would love to. So many years ago when I started doing this every week, I was doing it for a different reason. We talk a lot about trucking and the do's and don'ts, but I wanted this to be about people and about positive energy and about motivation. And this week's High Road Hauling is exactly that. I had a wonderful weekend camping with my youngest grandsons a couple weekends ago. And so I wrote this one about don't overlook the joy you get from spending time with family. This last weekend, my wife and I took our youngest grandsons, aged 7 and 9, on a little camping trip and fishing trip to a small lake west of Berthoud. They had never been fishing before, and you might imagine it opened up a whole new adventure. They learned how to cast their line, bait their hook, reel it back in. We didn't catch any fish, but that didn't dim their enthusiasm. They thought every cast was a new chance. Each day we woke up and they wanted to get their poles and go fishing even before they had breakfast or got out of their pajamas. I think watching their excitement brought almost more fun for us than it did for them. It proved for me there was joy in every moment if you take the time to notice. So often we treat the endless Christmas dinners and birthday celebrations as required events rather than the family blessings that they truly are. If you want to find more joy in these moments, look at the grandparents. Their outlook has changed over the years, maybe because they realize the joy and feeling of maturity of their family and realize that the time you can spend with them is limited. Their children all grown up, the moments of joy in their grandkids when they have a good cast or race their bikes down the campground path or blow out those candles at that birthday, every one of those is precious. It's too common for us to get swept up in the hustle and bustle of our busy schedules. We go from one obligation to the next, and we literally don't take time to smell the roses. There are important things we can do to increase our joy, our children's joy, and grandchildren's joy in the moment. After all, that's how memories are made. Spend more time together, not just holidays or birthdays. Relationships are the center of our happiness and joy. When our relationships are strong and thriving, our joy fills up. Spending time with the people you love is a surefire way to increase your joy and for them. Hug. Hug lots. Be close. Long hugs are proven to increase the neurotransmitter oxytocin, or oxytocin, I'm not sure. They boost dopamine and serotonin, and those are the brain chemicals that promote happiness. Go outside with your family. Nature is fuel for the soul. Outside, we're more inclined to talk and connect and be grateful and active. Serve as a family. Find people to serve. Do good deeds for fun. Offer surprises and treats to neighbors and friends. These acts of service strengthen your family and make everyone feel better. And be grateful. We appreciate the good things we have in life. Research confirms that our sense of well-being and joy is increased. Slow down. We can stop being so busy, and we can also stop pretending that we're so busy because we're always engaged by our screens. Slow down, sit quietly, be available, and create margin in your life. Margin is that space on the page where there's room for notes or corrections. And that's an analogy. The page is your life, right? Margin is that space in our lives where there is room for other people and the possibility of change. And play. When we play, we communicate, we listen, we learn, we establish rules, we build relationships, and we learn to regulate behaviors. We laugh, and we can find joy and fun in all kinds of inconvenient times and places. Children are most likely to recognize and celebrate joy when they are playing. As we grow older, we forget the sheer joy of playing. Think about the breathtaking joy you feel in following the experiences with your child or grandchild, watching your child sleep peacefully, experiencing one of those hugs where they snuggle right in, seeing your child engaged in some kind of activity oblivious to the whole world, having a conversation with your 3-year-old, in my case, our 9 and 7-year-old, and realizing they really are talking with you. Sing out loud. Sing your child's favorite music as it plays full bore in the car, and hearing your child tell you about something they've achieved. When these things are fully in the moment, they bring us joy. They bring our children joy, and when we share them, our family joy is increased. But how often are these simple moments overlooked? We miss them entirely because of our agenda, our exhaustion, or our busy schedule. There can be joy at every moment. We just need to slow down and smell the roses. And the quote this week, in every conceivable manner, the family is linked to our past and bridged to our future. And that was spoken by Alex Haley, who's an American writer and author of Roots. We all know what Roots was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Felt like you wrote that for me, or read that for me.
That happens up here.
Dave, does everyone know what Roots is?
I
mean,
hope so. It's a
the
pretty
miniseries?
old gig.
The younger generation may
I
not.
bet Sam does.
Yeah. No?
I mean, I'll make a point and ask.
A best-selling book and an Oscar-winning movie
For our generation.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
I actually went to first grade with a gal who was like cast in that.
Really?
It was in the 70s.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
It was a miniseries too.
Yeah.
I mean,
television.
it was a big deal.
It was a big
right?
deal.
I mean, like you said, Dave, it was a mini series on TV. Like I remember as a little kid watching it.
mhm.
You
Me
know?
too.
Yeah.
So I guess I wonder how many
You know, it was
how many of our drivers or employees
It was
know it.
2 movies because the old one was with Oprah, and then they made a newer one. I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, didn't they? With the new
Maybe.
cast.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I kind of
don't
thought
know.
the newer one was with Oprah and the old one.
Huh.
I mean, I don't think she was around in the 70s.
Nah.
Oh yeah, she was.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Lamar Burton, Oprah. There was so many
Yeah.
people in the original Roots
Yeah.
that I remember.
Okay.
It could be. Yeah.
All right. Good one, Suit. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
Final
thank you,
thoughts,
Dave.
everybody?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Eric, can you just final thought here, and it play a little game with me. It's not really a game, but let's say we have one lemon. Okay, we have one lemon. You need a lemon, and I need a lemon. So if we only have one lemon, what would be the best thing to do with that lemon?
As an act of service, I would give you and get my own.
Yes. And it would be his pleasure.
But what if we do it fairly when we had that one lemon?
I guess we'd cut it in half.
Cut it in half, right? So after we cut it in half, you took your lemon and I took my lemon. What if I discovered you only needed the zest, you only needed the peel, and then you talked to me and all I wanted was the pulp for the lemonade? And if we would have just communicated a little bit,
Oh, I see what you're
we both could have had a
what we
whole,
wanted.
we would have had a whole lemon between us.
Yep.
But we didn't communicate about it. We didn't discuss it. We didn't do that thing. And my final thought was just on our standards, on our bias, on all the things we've talked about, we got to communicate. We got to communicate our needs. And sometimes if we do that, we end up whole.
Yeah.
We don't have to split something.
I like that.
Yeah. No, I've never heard that. That's a great analogy.
Thank you. Thank you. That was my
But
final
I'd still
thought.
give you the whole lemon, Jim.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm going to make a lot of lemonade.
He's going to sell the zest back to you. I just want to go on safety. I mean, we have Tim and Eric in here and I don't know how we beat it up more. I don't know how we drive it home more. I don't know how we preach it more. I don't know how we beg for it more, but ultimately it boils down to you, and we're doing our part. And that's not saying we won't continue, right? Or we can't do better or we can't do more, because we will continue to do more. We will continue to talk about it and do all of those things. But, it still boils down to what you approve or what you think is the right thing, and Tim, I love the fact you were here. I mean, I have more notes on this outline than I've had in ages, right? So for me, I'm just talking my opinion, this was one of the best podcasts I think I've ever been a part of. And having Tim as the guest, I feel like you brought a lot of things. I mean, I've already ordered 4 of the books for us.
Good deal.
So they only had 4 available. I bought they were $9 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So I got 4 coming and we'll pass them around and share them. But I mean, those things that for me, when I hear that, it's like, oh, that's an aha moment, right? Like I've been driving and I'm only 2 seconds behind that guy. I've driven like that my whole life. It's fine, because I have the affirmation that I have the proof, when in actuality, wow, it's not, and I think for me, I had a lot of those things during this podcast. So thank you for coming and thank you for being here today. And Eric, always thank you for just your participation in everything we do, because it's important, and I know a lot of times for myself personally, I have pushback like Dave's higher, I'm busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time to meet with our insurance agent. Well, I do. You know what I mean? And here I am, and I'm appreciative of the podcast we just had. So,
Thanks.
I hope everyone that listens to this got something out of it. I hope they learned something out of it, because I feel like all of us here at the table learned a little something.
Oh, yeah.
You guys may not have learned something education-wise, but you learned something about what we do. And yeah, I'm just thankful to be part of it, I guess.
Wow.
Trying to make trucking great again.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, your guys' final thoughts were all really positive, and that's great. But
We're off the high
Jam
road.
gonna say?
We're off the high road.
I want to take you down a lane that I was driving on the other day, and it wasn't very positive at all. And I just kind of want to talk about it. So, other day, Friday, I'm out trucking. I didn't get out there till I can't remember what time, but I'm out there driving around, and things are going well. And then I hear a conversation among a couple of our drivers on the CB radio. And we talk about this all the time. The CB radio is not a place to talk about JFW business. It's not a place to talk about rates. It's not a place to talk about what happens at home. When I say home, I mean this house, right? And we got a driver complaining about, two drivers actually, we don't get paid enough for this, right? Is number one. And that kind of bugged me. And then, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to call this driver out the way he treated JFW. And I had to pray about this, right? And honestly, I was like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to call him out in front of Jim and Dave. He's going to come up to Jim and Dave one day and talk about how great it is working here. I'm going to be like, hey, what about that conversation you were having the other day about, about the way we treat you? We don't care about you and the rates suck and we don't get paid enough to do this and do that. What about that conversation and some more personal things? Again, I don't want to give too many details because I don't want you guys to know who it is, right? And then I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm so vindictive. Like I got this problem in my head, the way I grew up, where if you come after me and my family, like it's on, And I thought of all these things I'm going to do to this driver, and then I had to pray about it. I just prayed about it. I'm like, none of those things that you're thinking about doing to this driver is very Christian at all. Like you need to figure it out. So anyway, I came to work. It might have been Saturday and he was working, and I just marched over to his truck, or maybe it was Monday morning, watched over there. I was like, hey, we need to talk. And I had a conversation with that driver, and it didn't go very well, and it was a lot of me barking at him, which also wasn't probably very Christian, but I didn't embarrass him in front of other people, which is what I wanted to do, right? But I was just thinking, like, what the heck? But rolling back to that Friday, not too long after that, I'm in Central dumping, facing the wrong way because I'm dumping in the pea gravel, and you're watching the entrance of the pit. And I hear these two drivers just yapping it up on the radio and having a good old time, but like also not being very good representatives, talking about F these mother effers and this and that. And here comes one driver flying. When I say flying in the pit, like, when I'm out there, if I see a guy doing 7 miles an hour, like, I know I shouldn't give up, Brother Dave, but it's also like, I'm out here trucking, they're out here trucking, but this guy really caught my attention. Enough to where when I got back, I pulled up the video to see how fucking fast he was going. 16 miles an hour into Central in a 5 mile an hour zone. Sets his brake, jumps out of the truck, puts his ticket, jumps back in, and boom, back on the throttle. And then he sees me. And then I see the truck slow down. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to say. I just don't even know. Like, I'm just so upset by the conversation I heard earlier about money, and then so upset about their conversation. And then with this guy's pulling into the pit, to the plant, I just couldn't even say anything. I didn't even, because it wasn't going to be very positive. So anyway, I go sweep out, and boom, he pulls up next to me, and he's sweeping out. And I look in the back of the trailer, and it says "Drive for the Best," right? It's a little recruiting picture. Little recruiting stick we have in the back of the trailer is "Drive for the Best." And I'm like, if anybody's behind either one of these trucks and heard these conversations and watched this truck drive into this plant, we're not the best. Or are we? Or are they not the best? This wasn't a very good representation of the best. So I don't know. I feel like it's false advertisement. When we got drivers like that, talking the way they are, driving like they do, we're better than that. And I don't know how to solve it. It's like, I do, but we won't have any drivers, and then I'll be trucking every day, and it's just, it's just really upsetting. It's just so upsetting. And I do feel like 80% of our people are amazing. and then we got 20%, or, maybe it's 90-10 or 95-5, but the people that aren't doing it the right way just stick out so much. It's just such a sore, there's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride and energy and work. And, our safety program is relentless. We put so much into it. I just don't know how to fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dog can't bark at every person walking past its yard, can it, Jam?
I mean,
all day long, it gets tired sooner or later.
Yeah.
But we also get to a level where we're so frustrated. If we were to take you guys out and we walk the yard, you'd see one of our drivers' cars parked not where it belongs. There's 28 cars parked along this wall over here, and one of them that just sticks out like a sore thumb. And I know you guys would be like, why is that car parked like that? This is week 3.
I hope it's not me.
Well, I wish everyone felt like that, Eric.
Yeah.
But they don't. I mean, that right there is the perfect answer. I hope it's not me, right? But we still have, those are some of the things we fight. And for us, you just get exhausted, don't you, Jan?
I had nothing in me for the driver. 7 miles an hour, I can understand. I didn't realize how fast I was going. It's the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's a line at 5 miles an hour. Is a gray area 7? I mean, we talk about it out here. Like, you guys know what's too fast. But how could anybody think that 16 miles an hour is okay in a 5 when we're preaching and preaching and preaching and preaching?
Situational awareness.
I think it's a lack of caring. I just don't care.
That's kind of like the parking out here.
Yep.
So is it situational awareness or lack of care?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough, isn't it? But that's where we go to Tim's. You need the right hire.
Yeah.
Right. We need the right hire because we want people to be successful and assimilate, because we feel what we've set up, you can be successful and have a great place to work, is what we believe. And, we feel when things have been brought to us that our eyes are open by, we've tried to change, and become better. So,
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we gotta remain who we are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We can't give up, and we gotta keep doing what we do.
Right.
But it does get exhausting.
Yep.
And you give me somebody that, when I see, because I had another situation recently where I felt the driver didn't care. And when I get somebody that doesn't care, I'm not the best me. If I think that you care this much, I'm going to be in your corner. I'm going to help you. And if I think you don't care, then I just, I don't really have a lot of love for you.
You're someone else's guy.
You better go talk to Super Dave, because this isn't going to go well. But anyway, that's my final thought.
Yeah.
Don't forget to listen and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Hit that follow button. Tell all your friends about us. Tell them to listen to the podcast. Let's say the creed and get on out. Together we face and overcome all that stands before us.
Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, 'cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I here, there's a couple million tons to move. I see 'em everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. They just keep them doors closed, keep them butts in their seats, 'cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.